morning, Vietnam! I'm joking. We're not in Vietnam. I just think it's funny. I'm sorry. Hope you didn't have earplugs in or headphones in. Hope you guys are doing well today. I am doing well. Today is in fact a Monday, so I'm sure you all know what a Monday means for us. Another reading a Breached Archangel job. Uh, God, this thing's longer than I thought. But then again, I don't think I'm reading as long as I used to when I did the last one. I don't know why. I don't know. I think usually I read these things alone and it goes by a lot faster. Like, I managed to go through it pretty fast. I'm a fast reader. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have much else to say than on that other than that. Yeah. So either way, let's stop jerking around the horse and let's get right into the meat and bones of today. Oh, tomorrow we may or may not do some Deathloop since it comes out tomorrow. We'll have to see. I still got a project in the works that hopefully may be finished by the end of the year. I don't know. I'll have to see. Hopefully. Alright, let's just jump into it, okay? I'm talking too much like I always do. Last time, I don't remember. Okay, whatever. Alright, let's get into it. If you open your books to page 30 something. Alright, well, let's get on this. I know I've said that like several times now. Sorry. Alright. You open the door, and as you look behind you, you see a familiar taco van driving through the gate towards you. The van is riddled with bullet holes of all sizes. The windshield is cracked, and the front right tire is flat. It parks beside you. The driver door opens up, revealing Rook as he hops out. Hey! He waves at you as he rushes around the back. He opens it and says, "Want me to get you a wheelchair?" Go to hell, you hear Bishop reply. Then he grunts in pain as he hops out of the back of the van. His khaki shorts are covered in blood, possibly his own. He reaches inside the van and pulls out an umbrella. "Come on, everyone's here already," Rook says as he walks over to you. "Let's go, Gabriel's waiting." Everyone gets out and makes their way to the loading bay on foot, passing the numerous parked cars in front of the mill. "Would it kill you to bring another umbrella?" Rook asks as he covers his head with his leather jacket and makes his way to the loading bay. "Would it kill you to stop complaining?" Bishop asks. "Shut up, Mary Poppins. You have an umbrella. You can't complain about me complaining," Rook says. "You shut up, discount Deadpool. You're the one who brought me out here and I was on my way to the spa." Bishop throws some shade Rook's way. Rook gasps. "You take that mean name calling back, Mr. Short Shorts." "You take your lame-ass jokes and shove them back down in your throat, Mr. Overdramatic," Bishop scoffs. Rook pauses and stares at Bishop before saying, "Now that's just mean." The two of them walk side by side in silence for a few seconds. Then Bishop finally says, "Sorry." Rook stares off into the distance and says, "I'm sorry too." He looks at Bishop. "Ice cream later?" "Yeah, why not?" Bishop shrugs. Just as you're about to walk into the loading bay, you hear the gate opening and closing. You turn and see a familiar SUV driving towards you. It's also shot up with broken windows and a smoking engine under the hood. You can hear the engine protesting as it rides up to you and slowly comes to an exhausted stop. The driver door opens, revealing Caden as he hops out. "Hey, could you give me a hand?" he asks as he rushes to the back of the SUV. You and Rook go to take a look at as Caden opens the back door, while Bishop walks off to the loading bay. You walk over to the back of the SUV and see Raquel, bleeding in the back seat as she tries her best to bandage up her bullet wounds. "Yeah, I think the medic needs a medic," Rook says with a chuckle. Raquel shoots him an intimidating, intense glare. Rook's chuckle dies and he nervously looks away. Patch her up with the first aid kit. You pull out your own first aid kit and walk over. She waves you away, but you ignore her as you sit down beside her. Unpack your kit and begin helping her patch up her wounds. She stares at you as you do so with a sort of appreciative look. You look up to meet her gaze and you realize that Raquel is the only Archangel that has red-tinted protective glasses over her eyes. You eventually finish patching her up and she gives you a grateful nod. She also lifts up her mask and gives you a kiss on the cheek. Unsure of what's going on, Kaden takes a step back in surprise. Okay. Raquel lowers her mask again before turning to Mouse and Kaden. Mouse's jaw drops and his eyes widen at the sight of it. He turns to you, then to Raquel, and then back to you, then back to her. Oh, you two. Okay. He takes a step back, unsure of what to do or how to react, now slightly unnerved by Raquel's presence. Raquel hops out of the SUV and marches over to the loading bay with a limp that makes her lean to one side. Kaden sighs and says, "She kills me, if she dies, Gabriel's probably gonna kill me." He walks off to the loading bay, urging you to follow. Got myself some nice tasty orange juice if you're curious. Rook looks at you and says, "Come on, let's not be out in the rain any longer than we have to." You eventually make your way into the loading bay, and to your amazement, there are a lot of people here, all of them in some kind of uniform. Count at least 45 people scattered around the loading bay chatting in groups. Some of them are wearing normal white shirts, black pants, light blue rubber gloves, black ski mask, and the iconic Archangel light blue ties. No hockey mask, no suits. Others are wearing black vests, most of them with body armor and some just wearing the shirt and tie. What catches your attention most are the ones wearing the full Archangel uniform. Black suits, black pants, white shirts, gloves, and the light blue tie. All of the ones in full uniform are wearing masks of a similar shape and size as the ones you and your crew wear. They seem to be gathering around the front of the office. There appears to be some sort of Archangel convention that you don't know about. You decide to keep your mask on, for now, not knowing whether you're supposed to reveal who you are to anyone. Another thing you notice is that your whole crew along with Caden's also here, all of them with their masks on. You look around the back of the mill and you can see the police cruiser that you regularly use in heists. You wonder what's going on. Before you can continue further into the mill, someone familiar in the crowd catches your eye. A man in a black vest, white shirt, and light blue tie walks over to you and shouts, "Mr. Kitts!" You see the familiar face of the grocery store owner from back in New York. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, God, I screwed up his accent. Shit. "Mr. Kitts, it's Alan Bogdani. How have you been?" Al asks as he walks up to you, putting his hand out for you to shake. "Wow, been good, Al. How are you?" Shaking his hand. "Things have been going well back in New York," he says, shaking your hand firmly before letting go. "I got a call from Gabriel, told me he wanted me to come to Chicago. I can't really refuse, so here I am." "Al? You're an Archangel?" Mouse asks as he comes up beside you. Yes, I am. Though I'm still an associate. I have the honor of calling myself Zachrael." He proudly fingers his black vest, which you assume to be an indicator of his rank or role. Kaden walks over and says, "Alan, so good to see you here." The two of them exchange a hug as Alan says, "They say something's big about to go down. I wouldn't miss it for anything." "Well, thanks for coming. We're gonna need extra help." He looks around and says, "I better get back to my crew. Gabriel said that we have a big job coming up. Don't want to miss it," he says as he waves at you. "I'll see you around." He walks off. "Have a good day, Mr. Kitts." As you continue further into the mill, you spot someone you didn't expect to be here. A man in a white shirt and light blue tie, short black sleek hair, and a slumped physique, standing amidst the crowd as he looks around curiously. It's Alex Caulfield. You walk up to him and he turns to you with a bright smile. Oh, hey! You know him? You know him, Mouse asks. Yeah, this is Alex Caulfield. You introduce Mouse to Alex. Mouse scans Alex from head to toe confused. I thought Alex was a... Alex stares at Mouse in disappointment for a few seconds before Mouse finally realizes what's going on. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, assume. Mouse scratches his head nervously. It's alright, I still get that a lot. Hopefully a fresh start with the Archangels will help me. He gives you a hopeful smile and nods gratefully. Thank you for convincing me. By the way, I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you three. He chuckles. Don't mention it. How's your mom? You ask. My mom doesn't know I'm here, so if you see her, please don't tell her I'm an Archangel. The less she knows, the better, he says. Caulfield! You hear someone shouting. Looking for Alex Caulfield. Oh, that's my team. I guess I better go. He turns to you and nods gratefully again. Thanks for the chance. I'll see you around, he says. Then he disappears back into the sea of white shirts and blue tie. Rook looks at you and says, We should go to Gabriel and, see what's up. He helps you walk as the two of you limp over to the group of Archangel gathered around the front of the office. Kaden and Raquel are walking in front of you. Raquel holds your hand tightly as you limp towards the office. As you get closer to the group gathered around, you can see that there are at least 10 Archangels in full uniform. A few of them wearing body armor, and all of them carry their own unique set of weapons, gears, and masks. They appear to be split into 2 crews waiting by the door. 5 Archangels on each side. Raquel finally sets you down in front of the office as Mouse rushes over. Raquel begins stitching you up with her kit, and Mouse tries to help. When did I get shot? I don't know. Raquel begins stitching you up with her kit, and Mouse tries to help. Raquel looks at you, then towards the office before turning back to you and nodding, making sure you're okay before gesturing for Mouse, for him to take care of you. Okay, Mouse says with a nod. Raquel gets up and walks off to the office as Mouse continues stitching up your wound. Mouse begins patching up various wounds you have, especially the one in your thigh. You grunt in pain as the familiar smell of antiseptic and the all too familiar burn goes through you. Mouse pulls the bit of lead out before sewing it shut and patching it up. You turn back to the 2 groups of Archangels waiting by the door. You can hear them arguing as they wait by the front of the office. One of them is a chrome mask with a black skull face on it. I say we break the door down, he says as he impatiently taps his foot. The other one, wearing a bronze mask with the giant yellow X painted over the face, sighs as he leans back beside the door to the office. He did tell us to wait on the phone. How do we even know he's in there? We haven't even seen him once since we got here, the man in the skull mask asks. He turns and sees Kaden and Raquel walking up to them. Oh shit, Joy, is that you? Hey, Voldy, Kaden says, opening his arms for a hug. Good to see you here, man. Voldy walks over and hugs Kaden in the manliest hug you've ever witnessed, giving him a firm slap on his back as he pulls away. Couldn't refuse a call from the boss, he says. Hey, Kaden, the man in the bronze mask asks. Hey, 21, glad you can make it, Kaden says, putting out a hand to shake. 21 shakes Caden's hand and says, It's sad leaving Buffalo, but by the sound of it, you all could use some help. Raquel walks past them to the door and pulls a key, unlocks it and walks inside, shutting it behind her. Hear the door locking again. Voldy and 21 watch as Raquel goes in. Voldy turns to Kaden and asks, Where's Gabriel? Caden scratches the top of his head. Sorry, just a little caught up at that moment. Caden scratches the top of his head and says, I honestly... Sorry, I think, God, I think my headset gave out. Or at least the right side. I'm sorry, slight interruption. Let me see. Sorry, just testing, making sure, because otherwise this sucks. Okay, never mind. Everything's okay. Alright, that was weird. Don't know what the hell happened there. Yeah, okay, yeah, that was weird. For some reason, the right side gave out. Like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it just went shh. And I was like, what the hell? And I thought, like, oh, maybe it gave out. And then I did the regular, when you turn up the audio on your computer and it gives you the little ding, ding sound. Nothing was coming out of the right side, but after playing couple of YouTube videos, apparently now it works. I don't know what the hell that was. Okay, let's get back into it. Sorry, that really sidetracked me. Caden scratches the top of his head and says, I honestly don't know. Last I heard from him, he was still at his safe house. One of the crew members standing behind Voldy, a man with wearing a black mask with a fiery white skull across the face, walks up with a chuckle and says, And here we thought he was already here waiting for us. Hey, Chuckles, how's the bar back in New York? Caden says as he and Chuckles exchange a handshake. Things have been quiet ever since Mute. You know. Chuckles shrugs and sighs sadly. Yeah, we heard the news. I'm sorry to hear, Caden says, patting Chuckles on the shoulder. I also heard someone went up the ranks. Yep, 2 actually. Chuckles says, nodding towards 2 people in the group. One in Voldy's and another behind 21's. One of them's wearing a yellow mask with a black smile, while the other's someone you just now noticed is creeping in the shadow of the loading bay, wearing an ivory white mask with green vines reaching out from either side. Both of their presences give you a chill. Goddamn, I think it just did it again. Nope, never mind. That was weird. Okay. You must be Killjoy, Caden says, putting a hand out to the man in the yellow mask with a black smile. And you must be Caden Joy. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Killjoy chuckles as the 2 shake hands. I doubt you could. You shoot me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize. Caden chuckles and smirks as he looks over to the woman casually leaning on the metal support beam in the shadow, almost invisible to the naked eye, if not for the fact that Chuckles pointed her out. She walks out of the darkness and strolls over to Caden. There's a familiar muffled quality to her step as she walks over. You realize you can barely hear any of her footsteps. It's almost as silent as Raquel's. And you must be Rose Noir. Caden puts his hand out for a shake. Rose remains silent as she shakes Caden's hand. Right, Caden says as he lets go. As you're watching the exchange, 21 looks over to you and says, Curious. I've never seen you before. The name's 21. He extends his hand. Raphael, and shake his hand. Funny. Voldy and I are also Raphaels, 21 says as he shakes your hand. How come I've never seen you before? Ah, yes, everyone, this is Raphael. Kaden mentioned on the phone. Kaden says, gesturing to you. Voldy nods at you and says, welcome to the family. Hope Gabriel hasn't sent you out on a suicide mission. We all sort of already went through one. Kaden chuckles. Vancourt Tower was a hell of a mess when we finished. I thought Vancorp were easy pickings. Voldy scoffs. I still remember the time I had to drag your ass out of a firefight back in New York at the Vam Finance job. Kaden smirks. We were outnumbered 2-1. What did you expect? Voldy shrugs. At the tower, we were outnumbered 30-1. Kaden says, crossing his arms as he starts to lean against the door to the office, when it suddenly opens. The door to the office opens just as Kaden was about to lean on it. He falls through the doorway but catches himself on the side. Raquel's standing at the door. Where is he? Kaden asks, giving her a concerned look. Raquel nods her head behind her and walks back inside. You hear the familiar voice of Gabriel through the door. Raphael's mouse, come on in. God, I can't do the low voice consistently. Kaden walks in along with Voldy and 21. You see Mouse rushing over to you as he sees the door to the office opening. He picks you up and helps you into the office. The office is darker than it usually is, with a single light illuminating the center of the room above the desk. You see Gabriel with his bare back facing you. He's wearing the mask and balaclava, but he's not wearing any of his uniform besides his pants. Close the door, Gabriel says. There's something gravelly and painful about his voice. You also hear the sound of metal clinking. As 21 walks in, he closes the door behind him. Oh God, what happened? Gabriel's back is littered with bullet wounds and cuts, some freshly sutured shut, others from old battles. You've seen the damage you've seen the damage like this before, but you've never seen it this clearly. The cartels went straight for me and Michael, Gabriel says with a painful groan as he turns around. You see that he's menacingly inserting brass 5.56 mm armor-piercing rounds into a polymer magazine. He sets it down and picks up his charcoal black undershirt. I see you're still addicted to getting shot, Voldy says. Gabriel chuckles, followed by a painful cough as he puts on his undershirt. You can see that there's another undershirt on the desk, one that's completely torn and full of holes. Beside it is Gabriel's body armor. It's been completely destroyed, covered with bullet holes and burn marks. At least I'm still alive, he says with a joke. Seems to not be in the mood to joke around like he usually is. There's something odd in his voice. He usually acts as if his wounds don't bother him, but now he's making no effort to hide it. He seems exhausted. Gabriel, are you okay? You ask. I've been through worse, Gabriel says. What exactly happened? Mouse asks. They breached through the front door at the House of Fluff. Gabriel looks at Raquel, who's currently sitting quietly in the corner, hands intertwined in mourning as she stares off into the distance. They threw a grenade right in. Gabriel looks down at the floor. Oh no. Don't say it. Mouse gasps as he covers his mouth with his hands in surprise. As soon as I heard what the cartels and the outfit were doing, I sent Raquel to get Kaden, Gabriel says. Then he looks at you. And I sent Rook and Bishop after you. He looks around at everyone. Michael and I stayed at the House of Fluff, grabbing everything we could. And when they breached, I heard the grenade explode and rushed out as they came in and started firing. At the last sentence, you hear the faint sound of Raquel sobbing quietly as Gabriel continues. None of the cats survived. You see Raquel gripping her own hands tightly, her sobbing getting louder and louder as her hands start to tremble. Walk over and comfort her. You walk over to her side and comfort her as best as you can. You hear her sobbing growing louder as you do. You swear you can hear her whimpering as she looks up at you and nods in appreciation. Her hand holds onto yours tightly as she stares into your eyes. Michael's currently on his way here. He and I split up to make it harder for the cartels to follow us. It was a bad idea. At least for me, Gabriel says as he picks up a white shirt and puts it on over his undershirt. Notice that the inside of Gabriel's dress shirt is colored black. Mouse walks over to Raquel and puts his hand on her shoulder. Raquel? I'm very sorry. Raquel looks at Mouse and gives him a nod of appreciation. The house of what? Voldy asks. The house of fluff. Raquel's safe house, Gabriel says as he walks over to Raquel. I'm sorry. The Pride did their job well. Or if not for them, I wouldn't be here. He puts his hand on her shoulder. As Raquel continues to sob, Gabriel leans down and hugs her. I assure you the cartels will pay for this. He groans in pain as Raquel wraps her arms around him. Raquel also groans in pain as Gabriel hugs her wounds. What happened after you and Michael split up? 21 asks. Raquel lets go and Gabriel turns around and says, They chased me down. One of them had an RPG, shot a rocket at my car, blew out the backside. Shrapnel went into my leg. I lost control and crashed into a tree. If not for the airbag, I would have been knocked out. He puts his hand over his chest and groans. Then he takes a deep breath. You and death must have some sort of deal going on. I sometimes wonder how you're still alive, Voldy says. Gabriel chuckles. They thought I was dead when they stopped to finish the job. I got out, killed my attackers, got into their car, and drove here. Haven't heard from Michael yet. Did he say where he went? Caden asks. He told me he'd meet me at the mill. I guess we'll just have to wait. Gabriel looks to Voldy in 21. Is the beta crew ready? My crew's missing a couple of people, but we're ready. Voldy nods. Jason told me he was busy chopping people up. He said he'd be here in a few. Aside from that, we're ready. Good. Is Enigma here? Gabriel asks. Voldy shrugs and scratches the top of his head. Right, we haven't heard from her since you left New York to us. Good. She's supposed to be keeping an eye on you from a distance. Here's hoping she knows where the mill is, Gabriel says. Our plan requires as many Archangels to be present as possible. So, why is everyone here in the first place, you ask? Not everyone is here. Some are still back in New York, but all the important ones are here, from associates to angels and archangels, Gabriel says. It's tough seeing New York City Archangel list, but our associates are keeping things on track, Voldy says. Buffalo's not without protection either. A few friends from Canada came by to help, 21 says, looking at Gabriel. Your sister says hi. When you see her, tell her I said thank you, he says. He picks up his iconic blue tie and begins tying it around his collar. How many Archangels are there? You ask. I called about 60 people, but I think only 51 came, Gabriel says. Yeah, some of them got busy with other jobs, Voldy shrugs. I just finished a job myself. Assassination job. Some big politician who had it coming. Out of the 51 who arrived, 24 are associates, 15 are angels, and 12 are archangels. Good. We're gonna need all the help we can get. He pulls out a fine black silk waistcoat and puts it over the shirt. How'd you know the cartels in the outfit were gonna attack? You ask. I pieced it all together. Andrew, the Don stepbrother we captured from the Vamcourt Tower, wasn't just running errands from the cartels, he was also running from the FBI. That night, Anthony and I talked. I knew he wouldn't just give up that easily. I knew he would send someone to follow me back to Raquel's safe house. Gabriel replies. But how did the cartels know where the safe house is? Mouse asks. Because when Meg told us that the FBI were going to stay back until we take out the outfit, I realized that the cartels were going to attack anyway, to defend the outfit before we can make our move. That doesn't explain how the cartels knew where to attack, Caden says. When Megan told us about the FBI, I took the time to contemplate everything. I recall the things Andrew said. The FBI can't take down the outfit by themselves, because the cartels own the outfit. But why can't they? Gabriel asks. Foley nods in realization. The outfit were able to outmaneuver the FBI because the cartels have eyes and ears everywhere. Yes, even the FBI. Even in the FBI. If the FBI knows where we are, then the cartels know where we are. The FBI wouldn't attack, but the cartels would. Gabriel looks at you. Remember the first time you went to Greg's original church? The FBI planted the tracking device on you, but the outfit came instead. Now you know why. He walks over to the closet, takes out a black silk business suit and puts it on over the waistcoat. Waistcoat. Are you sure you're gonna be okay? You ask Gabriel. I'll be fine, he says. Thank you. Sure about that, boss? You look like you're about to fall over, Voldy says. I've been through worse and you know it. He buttons up his three-piece suit. You can still walk, right? Caden asks. Gabriel ignores him as he produces a finely made wooden cane from under the desk and limps over with the cane to support him as he says to everyone, Gather your crews. I have an announcement to make. Don't say anything. Gabriel limps past you with the cane. He opens the door and limps through. You find yourself worrying about Gabriel's health. It seems to have grown increasingly serious ever since the confrontation with Anthony. You and everyone else in the office follow him out. God. Forget how how much Gabriel hurts to do. Let me just take a couple sips. Whew. Alright. You watch as the rest of the Archangels, some of whom have been keeping their eyes close to the door, hoping to eavesdrop from outside, back away as Gabriel opens. Opens the door. As he walks through, they all make way for Gabriel to pass. Oh shit, what happened? Did you get old? Says an Archangel wearing a red mask with a black crow across its face. Good to see you, Crow, Gabriel says, shaking his hand. Gabriel, are you okay? Asks another Archangel wearing a silver mask with an ornate emerald green design walks up. I'm good, Violet. It's just a scratch. Gabriel says, shaking her hand. Looks like it's more than just a scratch, boss. Looks like it's more than just a scratch, boss. Another Archangel wearing a silver mask with a red bullseye around the right eye makes way for Gabriel as he passes through. I'm good, Connor, thank you, Gabriel says as he shakes his hand. You look like you need a drink. Another Archangel wearing a black mask with a green star walks up, offering Gabriel a bottle of scotch. Realize that you recognize the voice. It's Goff from the bartender from the Ass Rocket. Gabriel declines the bottle of scotch. I got mine already. Thanks, Goff, he says as he continues down the path. You should really get some rest, Gabriel. Another Archangel wearing a black mask with a white X across the face says as she helps make way for Gabriel to limp through. Thank you, Nessie, but I'll be fine, Gabriel says as he walks towards the loading bay. The chattering in the loading bay quiets down as Gabriel limps through with his cane. The crowd parts away as you and the rest of Raphael's, along with Mouse, walk behind him. You see your crew and you see Caden's crew. Ian raises an eyebrow when she sees Gabriel with a cane. Cass smiles. Anna and Charlie nod in amazement. Carly lowers her head in respect. Justin gestures for the crowd to make way as Gabriel comes through. Evening, Leanne, Gabriel says as he passes a woman in a vest, white shirt and black skirt. Evening, Gabriel. Hope you get well soon. Leanne shakes his hand. Hope so too. Gabriel nods as he moves on to the next one. How are you doing now? Gabriel says, passing by Al. Al shakes his hand, lowering his head in respect. Doing good. Good to see you again, sir. Gabriel nods as he continues down the line. Jim, what happened to your leg? He asked, passing by a man in crutches with a cast around his right leg. Football accident. Glad to see you, Gabriel, Jim says as he shakes Gabriel's hand. Gabriel nods as he walks down further. Archer, great to see you. He walks up to a woman wearing a white dress shirt and full body armor with a long bow and quiver of arrows strapped around her back. Good to see you too, Gabe, Archer says as she shakes his hand. Sen, goddamn, how many people are there? Sen, long time no see. He continues back down the path and walks up to a man in a black tactical vest and glasses. Yeah, I've been quite busy. Thank you for inviting me, Sen says as he shakes his hand. Jeffrey, Caesar, god fucking damn it, how many people are there? Oh my god. Jeffrey, Caesar, glad you can make it, Gabriel says, shaking hands along the way. You too, Gabriel, Jeffrey says. How are you still alive? Caesar chuckles. Miss Heather, how was your trip? Gabriel says as he continues to walk towards the SUV parked at the end of the loading bay. Took the first plane to Chicago when I heard the call. Quite glad to see... Oh, shiza. Mike, Heather, how was your trip? Yada yada yada. Oh god, so many goddamn names. Why? Took the first plane to Chicago when I heard the call. Glad to see you. The train was delayed, but I managed, Heather says. Christina. K and CH, Christina. How have you been? Gabriel asks. Been busy lately, but I couldn't refuse a call from Gabriel himself, Christina says. Been well. What's the occasion? Christina with a K asks. You'll see soon enough, Gabriel says as he moves on. Aaron and Tatiana, welcome to the mill, Gabriel says as he finally arrives at the broken and shot up SUV parked at the end of the far end of the loading bay. Thank you for the invitation, Gabriel. Quite the place you have here, Gabriel, Tatiana says, raising a bottle of vodka as Gabriel passes by. Thank you. Previous owner didn't mind me moving in, Gabriel says. Ah, Christ. So many names, Jesus. Gabriel sets his cane down against the door of the SUV. Then he climbs up on the hood. Picks up the cane and walks up onto the roof. Everyone, may I please have your attention? The already silent crowd turns its attention to Gabriel as the path he once took closes up again. You and the rest of the Raphaels blend into the crowd. I would like to thank everyone for answering the call. Some of you here might not know who I am. Some of you here might not even be criminals to begin with, he announces in a loud and authoritative voice. Some of you are merely associates, others have been made into the ranks as an angel. The rest of you have long been in the Archangel crew as Archangels, but all of you here are now part of the family, Gabriel says. Some people in the crowd smirk, while others listen with a glowing passion. You look behind you and you see Anna wrapping her arm around Charlie's shoulder. You see Cass smiling as he nods in agreement. The Archangel crew needs all of you to work. The Archangel crew needs all of you to work together. Associates! Gabriel shouts as a group of people who are only wearing a shirt and tie listen closely. Go to the church I've sent the address to. Grab your weapons, grab your gear, then go around town and rob every single shop and establishment on the list I've given you. Gabriel's tone turns gravely, filling with intense power. Most of the associates quickly pull out their phones and begin reading as Gabriel continues. I don't want any innocents killed or even hurt. I just want you to go there and rob. Keep all the money you earn for yourself, and keep all the weapons Greg gives you. The associates begin chattering again, discussing the list of shops and establishments that have been sent to their phones. They all quiet down as Gabriel continues. As for the angels, the group of people with the black vests and shirts listen closely. I need you to form your crews. Pick out your crew members from the group of associates. A maximum of 3 associates per crew. Help them plan and help them rob. I've sent you a list of places that you can use as safe houses. Choose wisely, for they will be your permanent crew, Gabriel says. The angels begin dispersing, joining in with the associates as they form a large number of crews all around the loading bay, in a controlled chaos of people running around, chatting, forming up into groups of about 7 crews of associates and angels. From grocery stores to strip clubs, I want you to take every valuable thing that's not nailed to the wall. Gabriel slams the bottom of his cane down on the roof of the SUV. Some of you will encounter resistance from the outfit. If they dare to try and stop you. Do not hesitate to pull the trigger. He slams his cane against the roof again. His voice bellows with ferocity and overwhelming authority. The crowd falls into the synergy of Gabriel's cry of outrage. Some of them cheer in support as Gabriel continues. Some of you may not know who the outfit are. They are the ones who run Chicago and treat its population as their slaves. They own more than half the police department, nearly all the drugs on the street, and a quarter of the establishments in this city. The crowd begins to murmur. There seems to be a growing hatred for the outfit among them. Sound familiar? Gabriel asks. The 5 families of New York also thought they were invincible. The outfit feels no different. Let's prove them wrong. The crowd begins to nod and raise their voices in support. Gabriel's serious and dominating voice seems to move them. Now go! Go out there and let them know who we are. Archangels, make them pray. God damn it. Gabriel angrily slams the bottom of his cane so hard that you see the window of the SUV crack as the crowd raises their arms to cheer. Some of the groups begin dispersing, running to their vehicles outside the loading bay. The rest follow suit soon after, until only the Archangels in their full uniforms are left. It's a sight to behold as you see an army of associates and angels, all wearing the Archangel colors, march into their cars. Your crew, along with Cadens, Voldies, and 21s, stay put as the associates and angels hop into their cars and drive out of the mill, in a somewhat orderly fashion. Gabriel watches from atop the broken SUV as the crowd disbands and drives away while the rest of the Archangels form up in front of him. He stares off at the line of cars exiting the gate for a few seconds before saying, Now, can someone help me down from here? I I can't feel my legs. That was a damn fine speech. Help him down. You say as you offer him a hand. Thank you, I had to improvise. Gabriel says, grabbing your hand and holding onto it as he slowly and painfully descends from the top of the SUV. He groans with every step he takes on his way down. You're not going to be fighting anytime soon, are you? 21 asks as Gabriel lands beside the SUV, using his cane to support himself. Gabriel scoffs and says, I'll stop fighting when I'm dead. You do know that's very possible, right? Violet asks. I've already have Raquel reminding me of that. You don't have to pile it on, Gabriel says as he walks past the beta crew and back to the table set up in front of the office. Archangels, I have a different job for you. As you get closer, you see a satchel already set on the table. You said something about an assassination job, 21 asks. And the capture and interrogation job, Voldy asks. I have 3 outfit members with a sign above their head that says kill me. 21, I want you and your crew to go out there and kill them, Gabriel says as he arrives at the table. He grabs the satchels, pulls out a few documents, and throws them onto the table. Who are they? 21 asks. One goes by the name Randall Ortonson, ex-military outfit captain and a sucker for prostitutes. He's the Don's right-hand man. I want to see his name on a tombstone, Gabriel says as he slides one document over to 21. NSC can take this one, he says as he passes it behind him to Nessie, who takes it and starts reading. He's as good as dead, Nessie says. Second is an international hitman, a Sicario. Goes by the name of Espada. He carries around a rapier, uses it to cut up her targets. She was one of those soldiers who attacked me at Raquel's safe house. She got away before I could kill her. I want her dead and if possibly kill her with her own sword, Gabriel says as he opens another document and passes it to 21. Why is the whole document in Portuguese? 21 asks. I got this document straight from the Brazilian Federal Police, Gabriel replies. I think Rose should take this one, 21 says, passing the document on to Rose, who takes it and reads it in silence. Third and last one comes in a pair of brothers, Ricardo and Javier Marcieri. There are the cartels linked to the outfit. If they die, the cartels would be rendered blind as to what's happening here. At least temporarily. I want their throats cut out and tongues cut out, Gabriel says coldly as he picks up another document and slides it over to 21. Want me to send a message? I see. Me and Crow can take this one, 21 says as he passes the document to Crow, who reads it. Wait, which one is which? Crow asks. They're twins, doesn't matter which is which. Just kill both of them, Gabriel says. You have the files, now get going. 21 nods, picking up the rest of the files before signaling his group to follow him. Stay safe, Gabriel, he says as he walks off to one of the 3 cars still parked outside the loading bay. Gabriel looks over to Voldy. Voldy. Ah, God. Sorry. Voldy, I have 3 people for you to capture alive. Aw, no fun, Voldy says. I have 2 from the FBI. One of them is a senior special agent going by the name Nolan Hadfield, and another by the name Lilith Kingsley. Both are under suspicion of being an informant for the cartels, Gabriel says as he passes a file to Voldy. Voldy opens it and takes a look. Do you want them in one piece? Just make sure they can still talk, Gabriel says. The last one is a judge named Eric Martinez. He's a devil's advocate for the outfit. I want to know what he knows. Gabriel passes another document to Voldy. Voldy sits down the previous document and picks up the new one. And notes one of his favorite locations as the Blue Oyster. Goddamn police. It's a Police Academy reference, okay? It's a gay strip club down. It's a gay strip club downtown. Caden says, and Voldy turns to him curiously. What? They serve the best seafood in all of Chicago. You should show me where it is sometime, Killjoy says. The prices are borderline robbery, Gabriel says. Either way, I want Judge Martinez, Agent Hadfield, and Agent Kingsley tied up and ready for questioning, Gabriel says. We'll take care of them, Voldy nods. Good, get going. Gabriel nods as Voldy gathers the files before signaling his group to follow. You see the door to the office opening behind Gabriel as Chuckles, one of Voldy's crew members, walks out with 4 bottles of booze. Hey guys, I found stash, Chuckles says as he walks over. Oh, give it here, Goff says, and Chuckles throws him a bottle of whiskey. Gabriel chuckles as Voldy's group makes their way out of the loading bay. Good luck. Shiza. Gabriel turns to Caden. As for you, I have a special mission. What do you need me to do? Caden asks. I need you and your crew to go to Los Angeles and take out the Unidad cartel's base of operations there, Gabriel says. Caden stares at Gabriel in disbelief for a few seconds. If you want me gone, you could have just fired me. My crew is nowhere near ready to undertake that. I've spoken to a few people on the West Coast. They've agreed to come to Los Angeles and be part of your crew. I need you to appoint one of your crew members to become Raphael, and another as Raquel. Gabriel says as he groans and straightens his back. Caden stares off past Gabriel in sudden realization. That means... Congratulations, Gabriel. Gabriel says as he puts out a hand for Caden to shake. Your crew and Caden's crew exchange looks of disbelief. Some smile and smirk, while others realize this might be the last time they see each other. Taken aback by Gabriel's words, Caden stares at Gabriel's hand for a few seconds before reaching out to shake it. He chuckles and says, I'm gonna need a vest. You can have my spare, Gabriel says. Just then, right on cue, Raquel walks out of the office carrying a black waistcoat. She brings it over to Caden, who takes it reluctantly. Thank you, Caden says as he takes off his suit to put on the waistcoat underneath. Remember the 3 guidelines of being a Gabriel. Stay calm, stay cautious, and stay alive, Caden finishes for him. Yes, remember to be polite to your allies and be ferocious to your enemies, Gabriel says, patting Caden on the shoulder. Looks like I'm gonna have to get used to wearing my mask. Caden chuckles nervously as he puts his black suit back on his waistcoat. Gabriel raises his hand and says, There is one last thing you need to learn before you become a Gabriel. Gabriel raises his mask and sets it down on the table. Give someone a mask and they'll show you who they really are, he says, cupping the mask in his hands as he looks deep into Caden's eyes. You've told me that already, Caden says. Gabriel raising his hand once more to stop him from continuing. Without the mask, a person will act according to their identity, as they want to be perceived. Gabriels wear their mask because they don't act according to their identities. Gabriel's voice sounds somewhat surreal behind his ski mask. As if the voice is coming from the mask that's on the table. It almost sounds literally detached. When you have no identity to uphold, when no one can recognize who you are, your ego falters and out comes the force of nature. That is what being a Gabriel is all about. Being a force of nature, unstoppable, unchained. But with all that power comes a price. Which is... Caden stares at Gabriel's mask as if talking to it. Gabriel stares at Caden's mask before answering. Wear that long enough and it becomes your identity, and the person behind it is left meaningless. Caden's mouth slowly opens as he caresses his yellow mask, then chuckles. So that's why that's why whenever people ask who you are, you always just answer with, doesn't matter. Gabriel nods and says, because it doesn't anymore. Are you willing to pay the price? Caden takes a good long look at his mask as if saying goodbye to it. He then pulls out his black ski mask and puts it on. He picks up his yellow mask with the red hand, giving the middle finger, and wears it over the ski mask. My family either dead or scattered. I have nothing left. I accept, he says, his voice echoing through his mask. Then I grant you the role of Gabriel. Gabriel puts his hand out and Caden grabs it, firmly shaking it, along with the gifts entitled to the role and the curses. Caden gives Gabriel a nod, Caden gives Gabriel a good, long look of realization that he just sealed his own fate. I called Greg and told him to prepare your tickets and gear. Go to the church to have them smuggle your weapons, Gabriel says, continuing to shake his hand. By now you've seen him shake so many hands you're afraid his arm might fall off. This is an honor, Caden says, still shaking Gabriel's hand. You can honor me by letting go of my hand now. I still have some shrapnel lodged somewhere in my forearm. Gabriel chuckles as Caden releases his hand. Sorry, you should really get that checked out, Caden says, nodding to Raquel. Go to Los Angeles, talk to the people on the list I'm giving you. Plan strategically and surgically. You're only taking down a branch, not the whole cartel. But even so, it will be quite hard, Gabriel says as he hands Caden a bunch of documents from the satchel. Caden takes the files and begins to sift through them, document by document. These will be enough, Caden says. Good luck and farewell, Gabriel says to Caden and his crew. Good luck, Caden. Thanks. You stay safe here in Chicago, he says to you. Caden grabs his gear and prepares his items for the trip, while your crew and Caden's exchanges their goodbyes. Carly and Charlie exchange a friendly hug as they say their goodbyes, while Justin and Anna exchange a handshake and a nod. Kaz and Haynes shake hands as Haynes says, Try not to get shot up too much. And you, try not to smoke too much. Kaz chuckles as Haynes pulls away from the handshake to reel back before sending a lightning quick punch into Kaz's chest. Kaz lets out a cough as Haynes chuckles and says, Stay safe, big guy. Caden's crew packs up their weapons and gear before following Caden out of the loading bay. They throw their gear into Caden's van and hop inside. Caden's crew drives out of the gates and away from the mill, leaving you and your crew and Mouse, along with Rook and Bishop, standing before Gabriel and Raquel. Gabriel looks at you and says, As for you and your crew, I have something else special planned. He walks over to the office. Hey, Pennywise, look who we decided to bring. You hear Rook shout from across the loading bay, and you turn to see him, carelessly dragging the body of an unconscious outfit soldier. Gabriel turns around, looks at the unconscious body, and shouts, Drag him to the table in front of the office. He then goes to the office, opens the door, and limps inside. Rook drags the body over, and he passes you. He says, Hey, where's everybody? Caden's going to L.A. Oh, nice place for hunting, Rook says as he drags the body all the way to the table. Let's take a small break. Alright, let's keep rolling. Gabriel comes back out carrying a wooden chair, dragging it out of the office as he limps to the table out front. He sets the chair down beside the table, and Rook sets the unconscious soldier onto the chair and begins tying him up with his arms behind his back. Rook steps back as Gabriel walks back into his office. The outfit soldier slowly wakes up, weak and weary, and he opens his eyes to see you standing in front of him. He looks around and sees Raquel standing beside him, Rook and Bishop to his right, and Mouse hiding behind you. He stares at you nervously. Oh shit. Behind him, Gabriel walks back out of the office with his suppressed browning high-power pistol in one hand, the cane in the other, and his FNC rifle slung around his back. He limps up behind the soldier and plants the cold iron of the pistol against his cheek. He pulls away in surprise at the sudden appearance of the pistol as it touches his cheek. Gabriel pushes the suppressor of his pistol against his knee and says, "Name." What? The man asks nervously. With the quiet but powerful thump, Gabriel fires a bullet straight through the man's knee. With a burst of red mist and specks of flesh flying, his leg bends to the side in an unnatural way. The man leans forward and screams in horrible pain before Gabriel places his gloved hand over his mouth and pushes his head back, silencing him as he sobs, groans, and cries, trying to wiggle free. When I open your mouth, I want to hear your name and who you work for. Gabriel slowly pulls his hand away to reveal the snot that's coming out of his nose and the painful moan he lets. The man sobs and says, "Please don't kill me." Thump! Another bullet goes through his stomach this time. The man leans forward, groans, and continues to sob. Snot and drool drip down from his mouth and nose. That wasn't a real name. Was it? Gabriel asks. Let's try again. The man leans forward, head hanging from his neck, weakly as he continues to sob. Oh, my name's Jeremy Nelson. I work for the FBI. Please don't kill me. He closes his eyes, grunting at the pain. Good. I'm sorry. What did you say? Gabriel asks. Jeremy looks away and says, Please don't kill me. No. Before that, Gabriel says. Jeremy looks back at Gabriel, confused. I work for the FBI? Gabriel stares at Jeremy for a few seconds before turning to Raquel curiously, who merely shrugs in reply. Gabriel then turns to Rook questioningly. Rook stands in silence, tilting his head in confusion. I swear he was hanging out with the outfit when Bishop shot him. He could be lying. Bishop says, I was tasked with infiltrating the outfit, Jeremy explains. You can look at my badge if you will believe me. It's in my pocket, he says. Gabriel immediately begins searching his pants, pulling out all the contents of his pocket. Pulls out a picture of a young woman with a signature in the corner, an empty pistol magazine, a smart watch phone, a wallet, and a badge. Gabriel examines the wallet, pulls out a driver's license, and pulls the wallet back in his pocket. He picks up the badge and examines the license and the badge side by side. Senior Special Agent Jeremiah D. Nelson. Some luck you have getting caught by us, Gabriel says. Please, I have a wife and... Shut up, I don't want to hear it. Gabriel throws the license back at him. I've heard people say they have families way too many times. Tell me, what's the FBI planning to do? Gabriel asks as he examines his badge thoroughly. They're planning to attack you guys. Last I heard, they're already mobilizing. Well, shit. Okay, now tell me, where's your tracking device? What? Jeremy says as Gabriel suddenly points his pistol at his head. Wait. Just then, you hear the roar of an engine so powerfully loud you almost mistake it for a gunshot. You turn to the source of the sound and you see a gunmetal gray muscle car with black racing stripes rolling through the gates of the mill. It comes to a stop at the edge of the loading bay. Through the windshield, you can see someone in full Archangel uniform, wearing a mask that's the same color and pattern as the muscle car they're driving. A gunmetal gray mask with black racing stripes. The Archangel promptly turns off the engine and hops out. Enigma, where were you? Gabriel shouts happily from across the loading bay. On the other side of the muscle car, the door pops open and out comes a man in a three-piece suit, wearing a black mask with the golden fleur-de-lis. It's Michael. Michael, what happened? Gabriel shouts, his tone turning from happy to concerned. I got away when they all turned to chase you, Michael says as he walks over to you and Gabriel. Enigma pulls out a Remington 700 sniper rifle with a custom AICS stock and slings it around her back before following Michael. Why didn't you come straight to the mill? Gabriel asks. I went off to meet with the Corps again at the Corp. Asked a few questions, ditched the car when it got too hot, called Enigma to pick me up. Michael says, walking up to Gabriel with Enigma behind him. Hey, Emily. Gabriel nods to Enigma, who nods back in reply. What did you find out? He asked Michael. Enough, Michael simply says. Then he puts his hand out. May I borrow your rifle? Gabriel cocks his head curiously, but eventually slings his white rifle out in front of him as he says, Yeah, sure. He hands his FN/FNC assault rifle to Michael. Michael grabs it and flicks the safety off. Michael, what's going? Michael raises the barrel to Jeremy's face and bang! Jeremy's face explodes in a confetti of blood and gore as his nose caves in from the impact of the bullet. His head falls back on his body as his body tenses up for a quick second before falling limp, tied up in the chair. Gabriel jumps back in surprise, raising his hands in frustration. What the actual fuck? What is wrong with you? He shouts at his partner furiously. He was an FBI agent, Michael says calmly. We know! He already told us! Gabriel quickly grabs his rifle from Michael's hands. Give me that before you shoot Kits in the face next. Did you find his tracking device? Michael asks. I was about to ask him where it was before you blew his face off. Gabriel shouts as he slings his rifle back over his shoulder. I mean, to be fair, you should have expected him to do that. Rook says, to which Gabriel shoots him a glare so intense Rook immediately looks away silenced. Did you find the tracking device? Michael asks again. No! Gabriel answers, waving his hands in the air in frustration. Did you check his wallet? Yes, it was clean. His badge. That too. That pistol magazine over there. Michael looks over at the pistol magazine laying peacefully on the ground beside Jeremy's dead body. Gabriel stares at it, then walks over and picks it up. He puts it up against his ear and listens closely for something. Then he limps over to the table and slams it down, cracking the surface of the table, but also popping the bottom cap of the magazine. Sorry. Gabriel pours out the insides of the magazine, and you can see the spring, the follower, and the buffer, along with what looks like a familiar blinking white capsule the size of a bean, which rolls onto the ground. Ugh. Sorry, what a storm of hiccups, eh? Alright. It's the same capsule that was found on you at Gray's original church when they stripped you naked. Does that mean we won't be having ice cream? Rook asks. No, Rook, we won't be having ice cream. Bishop replies. Shit. Gabriel rears back and stomps the tracking device as hard as he can. You hear a tiny crack, followed by Gabriel grunting painfully. Ah, damn it! I forgot that I had shrapnel in my leg! He mutters angrily. You okay? Michael asks. I'm good. Just need to gather myself for a few seconds, Gabriel says as Raquel limps up behind him and puts her hands on his shoulders. I'm good, Raquel. Thanks. What happened? Enigma asks. Long story. I'll fill you in later. Thanks for coming, Emily, Gabriel says as he looks around the loading bay scanning the structure. But I need you to go find a vantage point and be our overwatch for a while. Expecting trouble, Emily says as she too begins looking around the mill. Lots of it, Gabriel replies. Gabriel turns to Michael and nods. Michael nods back before looking to Raquel, who also nods, and the two of them rush over to the office, leaving Gabriel with you and your crew. You have my frequency, Emily says as she taps the side of her mask over her ear. Let me know what to do. Just stay hidden and kill anyone who's shooting at us, Gabriel says, tapping the side of his own mask. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. He checks his earpiece. You hear his voice echoing through your own earpiece. You give him a thumbs up and he nods before receiving confirmation from the rest of your crew along with Mouse. Rook and Bishop pull out their red and blue balaclavas and put them on before checking their earpiece pieces. Loud and clear, Pennywise, Rook says. Mine's a bit quiet, but I'll manage, Bishop says. That's just because you're a bit deaf, Rook chuckles. Alright, everyone. The FBI's coming. I know it sounds stupid to stay here, but we have to hold them off until Michael and Raquel can finish emptying the office of all the important files, Gabriel tells everyone through the earpiece. Look past Gabriel and see Michael and Raquel dashing out of the office with a whole cabinet of files and documents, which they carry to a flower van parked nearby. We only have to fend them off for 20 minutes at the very least. That sounds a bit long, but we have Enigma as Overwatch. Just make sure you don't shoot your own teammates, and you won't get shot in the head, Gabriel says. Oh, I was looking forward to shooting Bishop in the back, Rook says. Don't worry. You're bound to hit me by accident, even with that awful aim of yours. Bishop scoffs. Gabriel, where did you find these guys? Emily asked through his earpiece. Her earpiece? Through the earpiece? Another long story. I'll fill you in later, Gabriel says. You can see Emily climbing the ladder as she goes up to a catwalk overlooking the entirety of the loading bay and some of the perimeter around the mill. Gabriel looks to Bishop and says, Bishop, I need you to take cover somewhere and give us suppressive fire with that machine gun of yours. Bishop nods as he caresses his M60. I'll try not to hit Rook by accident, he says as he walks off to the back of the loading bay and settles behind a concrete barrier. Gabriel then looks at Rook and asks, You know what to do? Or, Shiza, wrong character. You know what to do. Taco? Rook asks. Taco. Gabriel nods. Rook grabs his AR-15 and rushes to the other side, parallel to where Bishop is, taking cover behind a concrete pillar. He pulls a rat taco from under his armor and takes a quick bite before putting it back in. He taps his earpiece and says, Bishop, taco taco? You look and see Bishop tapping his earpiece. What's our filling? A hot batch of FBI agents. Spicy, Bishop asks. Extra spicy, Rook replies. You see Bishop pulling out a few grenades and setting them up on his vest, ready for use. Gabriel looks at Mouse and says, Mouse, go to the office, call Greg and tell him I'm invoking Order 34, and that we'll be coming in, possibly with heat. After you're done, I need you to access the mill's CCTVs and call out enemy positions. Mouse nods readily and rushes over to the office with his back. He goes through the door and you see him beginning to set up his laptop before picking up the phone. Finally, Gabriel looks to you and says, Kids, I want you and your crew to hold the defensive position in the loading bay. Don't let anyone through. He puts his hand on your shoulder. I want you and your crew to hold the defensive position in the loading bay. Don't let anyone through. He puts his hand on your shoulder. They'll fire down on you hard, but you've proven yourself as an Archangel. Just mere moments ago, he was the most furious you've ever seen him. Now he seems calm and assured and content. Catch the gleam of his bright blue eyes, and he nods to you. Says, I believe in you, kits. There's a sudden blissfulness that flows through you as the words fill you with confidence. The pain in your body subsides, and even though you know you're hurt, you can ignore it for a moment. You don't know what this feeling of confidence is, but you don't question it, as your strained muscles begin to relax and your mind goes calm. Your muscles are tired, but your sprint is lifted. You feel like you could take on an entire army. Your body gives in as your mind takes over. You are ready. Your luck has temporarily increased. So, where are we going after all this is done? We're going to Greg's church. I told him weeks ago that something like this might happen, and that we need to use his church as a base of operations. Temporarily, Mouse asks. Did he agree to it? Mouse asks through the earpiece. He doesn't have much of a choice, Gabriel says. You never mentioned they were a Christian, Gabe, Brooks says. I'm not very religious, if that's what you're saying. How many of them will be there? I don't know. Just preparing for a huge fight. Here's hoping I brought enough ammo. Alright. No one's going through me. I'll make him pray, you tell him. Gabriel nods and readies his FNC assault rifle. What will you be doing? Mouse asks through the earpiece. If they want to take me down so bad, then they can have me, Gabriel says as he takes off his white gloves, showing the skin of his hands for his first time, before shoving them into the pockets of his suit, pulling out a pair of black tactical gloves from the other pocket and putting them on. What exactly are you doing? Emily asks. I'll be your distraction. Don't worry about me. I'll be out of here before they even realize it. You should all be worrying about getting out here and making your way to Greg's church, Gabriel says as he takes off his suit and tie. You're not doing what I think you're doing? Michael says. I haven't done this in a while, but I hope I still remember how, Gabriel says as he sets down his suit jacket and tie by the table before taking off his black vest. Raquel walks over and puts her hand on Gabriel's shoulder as Michael says, You're hurt and full of holes. You're practically a walking blood fountain. Don't do this. You should listen to Michael on this. Unless you're just stripping to your undies, then by all means, be my guest, Rook smirks. Gabriel ignores him as he unbuttons his shirt, takes it off and turns it inside out, showing the black interior as he puts it back on. He's not wearing a black shirt, black pants, and black gloves. If not for his mask, he almost looks like he's on the SWAT team, but without the patches or body armor. He looks over at you and says, Get yourself ready. I need to prepare myself. This is the time. Time to shine, you think to yourself as you look around the loading bay of the mill. Then at your crew. They all stand at the ready to receive your command. Annie readies her Glock 19 pistol, checking the chamber before holstering it on her hip. She picks up her L85A2 rifle, grabs a fresh magazine, and slams it into the bullpup rifle before chambering around. She smiles at you and says, "Let's shoot some arse." Charlie picks up his Glock 19 and playfully spins it on his index finger, cowboy style, before holstering it on his belt. He picks up his MP5K, and slams the bolt forward, chambering around. He smirks as he readies. "Ready when you are, Gov." And detaches the suppressor of a Walther P99, inserts a fresh magazine and chambers around before holstering it next to her Beretta 93R. She grabs her Diamaco C7A2, which she seems to love very much, and checks the chamber before loading a fresh magazine and chambering around. "We're ready, kids." You prepared your shooty bang bang and smile and your two Beretta M9 pistols. Making sure it's full of ammo before holstering it. Pick up your Ronald Ray gun, the AR-15 rifle, inspect the chamber and chamber around before slinging it around your back. You grab your nightstick, bash the air as you test it out, then holster it. Rook watches from a distance before saying, "You all look like the adult version of the Power Rangers." He chuckles. Just then, you hear Mouse's nervous but excited voice over the earpiece. "All Archangels, armored FBI and SWAT vans coming in from the north. I repeat, north, lots of them." "Alright, kids, set up your perimeter and hold. Don't let anyone through. Enigma, cover the entrances and help Kits however you can. Rook, Bishop, suppress and distract. Mouse, keep her head down and wish us luck," Gabriel says. "Good luck," Mouse says. As everyone gets themselves behind cover, Gabriel sets his wooden cane and his rifle down on the table in front of him, then walks past everyone to the center of the loading bay towards the entrance, calmly. Rook looks at Gabriel and says, "What the hell is he doing?" Bishop replies and says, "Taking a stroll." In the distance, you hear the sound of multiple engines roaring loudly, tires rolling over the dirt outside the mill. You hold your Ronald Ray gun firmly in your hand as you anticipate the convoy of FBI agents. "Everyone, hold your fire. Hold your fire and hide," Gabriel calmly whispers through the earpiece. You see your crew lowering themselves behind cover. Raquel and Mouse continue to rush in and out of the office, with document after document getting dumped into the back of the van in the park corner. You turn and see Bishop pulling back from his concrete barrier to hide, pulling his machine gun down behind it. You turn to your other side and see Rook casually hiding behind a top pillar, eating a taco. You look around, taking in your surroundings before deciding where to hide. Your mind races as you hear the metal gates outside the mill breaking apart as the chain link fence rattles around. The FBI is here. There's a concrete barrier close to where your crew is in the middle of the back of the loading bay. Well, you'd be probably hidden and fully behind cover, but it's a bit far from the entrance. There's also a half wall to your left, which you can get to without having to run very far. You'd be close to the entrance and somewhat hidden, but you won't be fully covered. So where are you going to hide? Look for a better position. You look around and scan the whole area, looking for a place where you can see everything but be behind cover. There's a shipping container which you could climb, then take cover behind the huge metal pipes stacked on top of it. You'd have a full overview of the loading bay and be fully covered. You quickly rush over and climb up the crates in the back of it, making your way to the large metal pipes stacked in a pyramid on top. You crouch down in behind them and ready your weapon as you hear the heavily armed vehicles rolling through the front gates towards the mill. You peek out from behind cover and see Gabriel, still and calm. is standing in the middle of the barren loading bay as he slowly raises his hands. You look to your left through the entrance to the loading bay. You see two heavily armed police vehicles sitting in front of about five police. Oh God. You see two heavily armed police vehicles sitting in front of about five police cruisers. Their lights flash red and blue across the rusted wall of the loading bay, but no siren can be heard. The back of the armored vehicle opens up and a fully geared and armed FBI SWAT team, around 14 in total, wearing full black tactical clothing, hop out of the back of the vehicle and begin making their way into the loading bay of the mill, weapons drawn. FBI, hands up, get down on the ground, they shout as they point their weapons at the first person they see. Gabriel. Gabriel calmly continues to raise his hands as 7 of them converge on him, weapons drawn. The SWAT team circles around him, then one of them approaching him, shouting, I said down on the ground! As he points his submachine gun away and rears out to grab Gabriel's shoulder in a blindingly swift move. Gabriel catches the man's hand and pulls him around, using him as a human shield. He starts trying to unstrap the vest of the man. Enigma, shoot whoever's shooting at me, Gabriel says over the radio as he disassembles the vest. 2 other SWAT team members quickly open fire, hitting their own teammate in the process. Plumes of smoke erupt from the vest as the man Gabriel has held up in front of him. Plumes of smoke erupt from the vest of the man Gabriel has held up in front of him. Pulls his back and successfully takes the vest off. That's weird. God, this grammar. Love this thing, but there's so many grammar errors. The man falls to the ground from the shots and suddenly, bang! A loud gunshot rings out through the mill as one of the men who fired at Gabriel falls to the ground from a sniper shot. Gabriel takes the time he has to put the vest on himself. One SWAT team member behind Gabriel quickly wraps his arm around him and tries to wrestle Gabriel to the ground. As another raises his rifle at Gabriel, bang! A loud sniper shot rings out and he promptly crumples to the ground motionless. Out of the original 7, only 4 are left standing. One of them, the biggest one out of the 4, is grabbing hold of Gabriel from behind. Gabriel quickly turns around in his grasp and sends an elbow directly into the side of his head, knocking his whole upper body to the side, and you can see him fiddling with the straps of his helmet as a large man reels away from him. Gabriel takes off his helmet and holds it with one hand as his other hand reaches for the smoke grenade in his vest. He pulls out the pin. The spoon flies off, but Gabriel stays in the pocket of his vest. And with a loud whoosh, smoke begins to pour out of his vest. Gabriel pulls back and kicks him, bringing him to the ground. You see Gabriel limping away, holding his leg as he grunts in pain. The smoke coming from the vest grows and envelops Gabriel and the last 3 standing SWAT team members as Gabriel methodically tries to disarm all of them. You hear a scuffle, a couple of gunshots, muzzle flashes followed by a painful grunt. You can't see anything through the smoke, but a few seconds later, Gabriel's mask is thrown out through the smoke. It clatters against the concrete floor and lands face up, staring at the ceiling with an empty gaze. You don't know what happened to Gabriel, but before you can guess, you see that the other 7 SWAT members have spotted one of your crew. Hain. FBI, hands in the air! Bang, bang, bang! Hain replies with her weapon, shooting one of them in the head as the rest scatter for cover. In your current position, you have a clear overview of the battlefield, and you can see one of the SWAT team members taking cover behind a pillar, unknowingly exposing his back to you as he tries to take aim at Hain. But in the corner of the eye, you spot another one who seems to have spotted you, as he raises his rifle up at you, ready to fire. Your mind races, your heart beats faster, and everything slows down. You're focused. Time to do something. Try to shoot at both of them. With the Ronald Ray gun. You raise your Ronald Ray gun out of cover and fire suppressively at the 2 SWAT team members, hoping to force them to take cover themselves. Bang, 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 bang. Luckily, the skilled marksman you are, you fire your shots and see both of them drop to the ground, one after the other. You look back and see Hayne turn towards you and give you a thumbs up and a thank you through the earpiece. You see the rest of your crew fighting back as Michael and Raquel rush out of the office and dash around the back of the loading bay where another SUV waits, right in front of your police cruiser. They throw the documents inside and go back to the office to pick up some more. As you're watching this, you hear shots ring out behind you, followed by a crack of it should be bullets, flying past you. You tuck in behind cover as you hear the gunshots getting drowned out by louder gunshots, sniper fire from up above. You peek out of cover and where there were once 7 SWAT members, now there are only 3, as the others are either dead or incapacitated. However, you hear Mouse in your earpiece saying, "They're sending reinforcements to the loading bay." Out of the corner of your eye, you spot a handful of men rushing out of the back of the van, outside the mill and making their way into the loading bay. You hear Rook over the radio excitedly saying, "Taco!" and Bishop unenthusiastically replying, "Taco." You see the two of them move forward, flanking both sides of the SWAT team in the loading bay as Enigma snipes any of them who dare to peek out of cover. Rook quickly rushes through the gigantic sliding metal gate that's currently open, leading outside to where the SWAT vans are parked, and where the reinforcement SWAT teams is running from. He ducks from cover to cover as the SWAT team opens fire at him, but their gunshots are quickly silenced by Bishop, who mows them down from the other side, spraying his machine gun all over the place, nearly hitting Rook in the process. "Watch where you're aiming! You almost shot the only person who can beat you at chess!" Rook shouts over the radio. "What? I can't hear you over the sound of my machine gun!" Bishop replies as you hear the echo of his machine gun firing loudly through the radio, and in real life. "Kids, stop playing around, please," Enigma says through the earpiece. "No, really, I can't hear you through all this gunfire," Bishop shouts as he continues to rain fire and lead at the SWAT team, his machine gun slowly deteriorating their concrete cover. You hear a sigh from both Rook and Enigma. Then Rook quickly dashes out of cover and slams his fist on the big red button by the side of the sliding gate. You hear a sound of metal gears rolling and clanking as chains begin to rise and fall, and the gate slowly closes. The SWAT team outside quickens its pace and tries to rush into the loading bay. However, Enigma shoots the leader in the head. Their body falls to the floor and the teammate behind them stumbles over it, and Enigma continues to swipe them down one by one before they can even reach the gate. Bishop eventually runs out of ammo and pulls back behind cover to reload. The remaining SWAT team members inside the loading bay take this opportunity to fire at Enigma up at the catwalk. They open fire with their rifles, and you hear Enigma grunting, followed by the sound of metal crashing against metal as sparks fly from the catwalk that Enigma's sniping from. You turn and see that a couple of the ones still outside have gotten close to the closing gate. Rook has no idea that they're right on the other side of the gate, and at the pace they're running, they could possibly make it into the loading bay. Your mind races once more. Like before, the world around you slows down, waiting for you to make your move. Think of a way to deal both. You have it. You turn and shout to your Ramiel. "Ramiel, cover Rook!" As soon as your Ramiel, Hayne, opens fire at the men about to rush in through the gate, you hop out of cover and open fire on the ones in the loading bay who are shooting at Enigma. Bang! You fire your shots and you see the men in the loading bay fall to the ground. The rest scatter and rush behind cover. At the corner of your eye, you see Hayne opening fire with her Diamaco C782. Each shot strikes with position and the two men quickly fall to the ground, right as the gate closes behind them. Just then, you hear a barrage of machine gun fire as Michael guns down all of the remaining SWAT team members still up fighting within the loading bay. He unloads his old ammo belt, and soon, none of them are left standing. A quiet stillness fills the inside of the mill, a cloud of smoke floating in the middle of the loading area. "Gabriel, are you there?" Michael shouts to his colleague. The smoke finally rises, revealing a pile of dead, unconscious, and heavily wounded bodies on the ground, a few of them missing their gear. One is missing his helmet and goggles, another is missing his vest, and another one's missing his elbow and knee pads. At first, Gabriel seems to have vanished into thin air, but then you realize there are 8 bodies. You quickly guess that one of the wounded bodies is Gabriel, but which one? Before you can find out, Michael shouts, "All right, we're leaving. Everyone get to your respective vehicles." You look up and see Enigma climbing down the ladder from the catwalk with her sniper rifle out on her back. She turns and sees Rook rushing past Bishop. "Did you have a hard time hitting me?" he asks with a smirk. Okay, no, I think these were reversed, sorry. "Did you have a hard time hitting me?" he says with a smirk. "You know, it'd be really easy if we were shooting the enemy instead of each other," Rook shouts before sighing in frustration. "Never mind that, we need to get out of here. Where's Gabriel?" He looks over at the pile of bodies on the ground and says, "Oh, wait." Raquel rushes over to Michael. Michael says something to Raquel that you can't quite hear from so far away. But Raquel nods and runs over to the SUV that they've been piling documents into. "House, when you leave to the office, go to the desk and grab the brass pen." "Oh, okay." You hear him mouse over at the radio, and a few seconds later, you see him emerge from the office with the shiny brass pen. "Raphael!" Michael shouts at you as his electronically distorted voice booms out. "Get your crew in your vehicle and make your way to Father Murdoch's church." "You mean Greg's Glorious Goods?" Charlie asks. Michael nods before turning to Rook and Bishop. "You two get in your taco vans and disperse. Meet us at Gregory's shop. You know where that is." "You mean the totally not suspicious church slash black market run by a possibly insane friend of Gabriel's, who has little to no actual interest in being an actual priest besides anonymously donating a ton of money?" Rook asks. Michael stares at him for a few seconds before nodding. "Yes." "Then yeah, we know the one." Rook nods. "We must depart," Bishop shouts. "Will you let me drive?" Rook sighs. "Never. It's a battle," Bishop replies as he walks over to the taco van. Bishop sighs and turns to Enigma. "Enigma, get in your car and follow behind everyone. Keep watching us and try not to get shot up before you reach the church." Man. Well, that's the end of my orange juice. Enigma nods and looks over at the pile of bodies. "What about Gabriel?" "He can handle himself. I'll pick him up tonight, if he actually calls me," Michael says before walking over to a newly created room beside the office that leads to the back of the mill. Remember that a few days ago there used to be a wall there, but now the wall appears to have been demolished. Through the non-existent wall, you can see Michael walking over to what appears to be another wall, which, if you remember correctly, leads out to the back of the mill. You see Michael pull out a long piece of yellow cord from his pocket, and he begins placing it on the wall, creating a circle. Realize he's about to make a very big hole. A really big hole. You look back and see Enigma hopping into her beautiful gunmetal gray muscle car. You also see Rook and Bishop arguing over who's driving as they make their way to the taco van. "Last time you drove, you almost accidentally crashed into a Taco Bell," Bishop says. It wasn't accidental. And unfortunately, I didn't hit anyone, Rook replies. Still no, I'm driving, Bishop says, nursing his wound he's been holding the whole time as he limps to the van. You can barely walk. Just sit in the back, grab some tacos, and get some rest, Rook says, going over to the back of the van, opening it, and gesturing for Bishop to get in. In you go, Mr. Cuddlepuff. Plenty of tacos inside. Bishop scoffs as he walks past Rook. With a blur of his hand, he slaps Rook's crotch, sending Rook reeling back, coughing and squealing. Then he climbs into the back of the van and closes the door, leaving Rook outside to slowly regain his composure, gasping for air. Carajo! Not cool, hermano! He curses as he walks around the side of the taco van, propping himself up against the wall as he hops into the driver's seat. Mouse comes up to you and asks, Should we go? Should we be going? You turn to your teammates and see everyone preparing their weapons and gear, ready to leave at your command. You're sorry, Earl, Charlie, and walk up to you and ask, Want me to drive, or do you want to drive? Think about it for a second. Someone will have to drive the police cruiser to Greg's church. Probably get chased by the FBI. Who will drive? You nod to Charlie. He nods back and rushes over to the police cruiser. You look over at the rest of your crew and address the situation. Everyone get in the cruiser. We're leaving. And in unison, on your command, your crew raise their weapons and quickly make their way to the cruiser. You follow suit, jumping in the front passenger seat beside Sario, with everyone else in the back. Mouse rushes over to you as you hear Michael shout, Mouse, push the pen. Mouse stops and turns to Michael, confused by the request at first. Oh! He takes the brass pen out of his pocket and slams his palm against the top. Boom! With a sudden shockwave, the office implodes. A large fireball shatters the glass as it erupts, fire beginning to pour out of the office as Mouse quickly hops into the back of the cruiser. Michael runs away from the circle he just made on the wall with the rope. He hops into the SUV next to yours with Raquel and immediately drives up to the circle. Their tires screech over the concrete floor and the SUV seems like it's about to crash into the wall, when another, less intense boom erupts from the wall, sending a plume of smoke and dust into the air. See a circular shaft of light appear above their SUV. Appear as the SUV pushes through the newly created hole in the wall. Alright, lads. Hold on, Charlie shouts as he releases the handle brake and the cruiser leaps forward. Everyone, including you, quickly grab onto something as the police cruiser burns its tires before launching off behind the SUV. Your vision blurs from the interior dark of the loading bay to the brighter and shiny after-rain weather of the mill outside the mill. The sun hits you in the eyes, blinding you for a few seconds before your retinas adjust. As the vision clears, you see the SUV in front of you bursting through the fence that protects the back of the mill, beyond which is a stretch of road parallels to it that lead away in either direction. Michael and Raquel's SUV drive over the bent fence and onto the grassy field that's between the fence and the stretch of road. The SUV clambers for a few seconds against the off-road terrain before drifting onto the asphalt, sending dust, dirt, and rubbery smoke into the air before launching off to the left, towards the city. You hear the clattering of metal as the fence scrapes the side of your vehicle, and as soon as you feel the cruiser jittering over the grassy rock terrain. Unfortunately, your vehicle wasn't made for this terrain. You hear the suspension system crying as it jumps across on the patch of grass on the rock. The front wheel hits the asphalt, and your vehicle jumps on it. As per Michael's command, you're about to disperse and meet everyone at Gregory's church. But which way should we go? Which way, boss? Charlie asks. Both paths leads to the downtown area, though going left will take you to a faster route to Greg's. Going right will make sure you have no tail, but will also make sure that but it'll also mean you'll have to circle around a longer route. There's nothing but a wall in front of you on the other side of the road. The world around you slows down as the cruiser hovers in midair, awaiting your decision. Right! You shout your command, and Charlie quickly slams the steering wheel to the right, letting the back of the police cruiser fishtail as it drives out onto the road, sending a plume of dirt and smoke into the air before it straightens out. Look in the rear view mirror and you see the gun metal gray car following right behind you as it climbs out of the grass and onto the street. Then you see Rook and Bishop's Taco swerving off behind Enigma's car, following it with you as the leader of the convoy. And lastly, your heart races as you see four black sedans that you recognize as Chicago outfit interceptors come out and chase you. They must have been waiting for you the whole time. There's now four outfit interceptors chasing behind you, Rook, Bishop, and Enigma. Two of the four outfit interceptors drive up to you, then pass you, chasing Rook and Bishop, who you're guessing is their top priority. However, Enigma crashes into the leading interceptor, pushing them off the road. The interceptor swerves off and tumbles into a ditch, sending dirt and debris flying up into the air. The other interceptor chases behind Enigma, but is cautious enough to keep their distance as everyone approaches an intersection. Rick and Bishop abruptly turn to the intersection, and Enigma follows with a beautiful drift across the wet asphalt, sending a spray of water in the air, casting a rainbow trail behind her car. The interceptor gives chase and turns the corner. However, the last two interceptors are still hot on your tail. Charlie steps on the gas and the interceptors fall behind for a few seconds, then speed up to catch up. One of them is almost right behind you and is about to try to do a pit maneuver. Time slows down once more, prompting you to do something. Quick, do something! Shoot at them with the Ronald Ray gun. Raise a Ronald Ray gun as Charlie holds the vehicle steady for you. You look back and wait until you see the interceptor swerve into view before going out of the side and aiming down your scope. Then you pull the trigger. Bang! You fire at the windshield. You see one of the outfit interceptors swerve out of the way as their windshield explodes, sending glass debris flying as blood splatters across it. The interceptor swerves to the right off the road and crashes headfirst into a lamppost. You hear the loud crash of metal and glass breaking as you see the body of one of the outfit agents, still alive but wounded, launching through the broken windshield and falling a few feet in front of the vehicle. You mentally pat yourself on the back, but you soon realize you have another interceptor to deal with as you see the last one driving up close, their engine roaring as they give chase. An outfit agent leans out of the passenger side of the interceptor with the HK-416 carbine and fires at you. Try your best to take cover. Take cover just in time as the bullet pierces through the side of your cruiser. Thankfully, you got down just in time. However, you look back and still see the last interceptor coming back into view. Damn it. You may have one less problem to deal with, but you still have one problem left. You see the last interceptor chasing right behind you. When you turn your back to the road, you see what's coming up. You're coming up to a T-shaped junction. Charlie quickly slams the wheels to the left and pulls the handbrake, letting the police cruiser drift across the asphalt as it turns corner. He tightens his grip on the steering wheel as it tries to twist out of control. You hope he knows what he's doing, but just then you suddenly crash. Your body jolts to the side, causing you to instinctively hold on to the first thing your hands find purchase on. You look back and see that the interceptor is slammed headfirst into the rear end of the police cruiser, pushing the backside as the vehicle pivots and rotates across the asphalt to face the interceptor. You can hear the tires and brakes screeching in protest as Charlie slams the gears into reverse and starts driving down the road backwards, not wasting any time to rotate back. You look back and see the road leading to downtown Chicago. You look ahead and see the other interceptor just as it slams into the front of the cruiser. Your body jumps forward and you hold yourself in your seat as the interceptor is now pushing you into oncoming traffic. You see the driver, alone in her cabin, slamming her interceptor into hot top gear. Her face shows that she's as desperate to end this as you are. Quick, do something. Shoot the driver, shoot the tires with the Ronald Ray gun. Raise your Ronald Reagan and aim to fire at the interceptor, but before you fire, she suddenly stomps on her brakes and pulls away from you before coming back to a complete stop, leaving you going backwards down the road. Confused by this, you've either scared her or... Kids! You hear Mouse scream as you look up to your right and you see something in the window behind Mouse, a reflection of something huge and blue behind you. Turn around to your left and see a huge garbage truck heading straight towards you. Oh shit. You don't have time to react as the entire cruiser's pushed to the right and your brain takes time to register the inertia. Do your best to cover your head as you feel a sharp, horrible pain in the left side of your body as you slide into the glass shards that was your window and the metal protrusion that is your door. Feel your head slam around before it slams into the... You feel your head twisting around before it slams into the side of your cruiser. Suddenly, everything around you goes black. Everything hurts. No, wait. Nothing hurts. You can't feel anything at all. Your whole body's numb. You can't tell if you're dead, hungover, or both. But right now, you can't feel anything. Nor see anything. Nor smell anything. Nor hear anything. Aside from the ringing silence in your ears. Maybe you are dead. Or asleep. Your eyes flutter open. And you find yourself in the back seat of your cruiser. You feel gravity turning you to the right. You look out of the window to your left and see the sky. Then you look to the right and see the asphalt through the cracked window. Your vehicle's on its side, and come to think of it, you don't hear the engine either. You hear the softness of the padding in your mask. You feel the softness of the padding in your mask, and you see a smudge of paint on the seat in front of you, and on the door to your left. Your mask must have saved you from a fatal concussion. The ringing in your ears continues to deafen you, so you think you might have some sort of concussion. You do, however, hear a familiar ringtone faintly coming from somewhere in the cabin of the cruiser. You try desperately to move to find it, but you can't. You can barely open your eyes, let alone move your muscles. Then you see something drop in front of you, clattering on the cracked window of the police cruiser, which is now the floor. You hear the ringtone continuing, and you realize it's your phone. The ringtone suddenly stops and goes to voicemail, which you have to set to play as it's recorded. You hear an unfamiliar voice coming from the phone. Raphael, this is Don Lavadenci. I heard you run into some troubles with the feds. Don Lavadenci? As in the head of the Chicago outfit? The people who've been trying to kill you since he set foot in Chicago? How does he have your number? If you survive, tell Michael I want to talk, he says with a sigh of disappointment. Not defeat. No defeat. Don sounds frustrated. You wonder what's going on. The call ends and you stare at your phone helplessly, unable to move. But then realize something when you see the number of the caller. It's Greg's phone. You have to tell Gabriel or Michael or anyone. But you can't. You can't move and you can barely lift your finger. But your neck is dangling against your seat. With the help of gravity, you turn your head and look at your surroundings, grunting as a sharp pain jolts up your spine. Something's definitely broken. You look around and see your crew, either dead, unconscious, or moaning in agony. For the first two, you're not quite sure, but the latter, quite sure, as you feel and hear yourself also moaning in horrible, horrible agony as you try to get up. You look through the windshield and you can see them. About 25 outfit soldiers carrying assault rifles and shotguns, making their way towards you as they park and hop out of the vehicle about 15 feet away. They seem to be in a firefight with the FBI on the other side of the road. From what it looks like, the FBI are pulling back as they're outnumbered. They're gonna let the outfit close in on you. You're all alone and injured, and you can't do anything about it. You're bleeding out. Is this how you die? Did you really go through all that just to die with your crew, with no one to come and save you? You don't see Michael's or Raquel's car anywhere, nor Enigma's, and you recall that Gabriel was left behind at the mill. This is it. You're truly alone. You can hear their muffled shouts as they close in, and you don't think anyone's coming to get you. For now you just hope they'll take you as a prisoner and not kill you as soon as they see you. Suddenly, you feel your whole body shivering. It's cold, very cold. You feel the warmth of the blood pouring out of your wounds. You feel dizzy. You should take a rest. And with that, you close your eyes, hoping to open them again later onto a different, friendlier sight. Then everything fades to black. I think that's where we end it right there for today. Pretty good stopping point, if I say so myself. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh. Ah. Yeah, now I break down at the end. Yeah, we're getting pretty damn close, I think, to the end. As my memory recalls, we're very very close. Maybe I'll try finishing it up next Monday, no matter how long it takes. Let me search up how long this game is anyway compared to compared to Shiza. What was the last one I read? Oh yeah, Demons Recollect. How could I forget? I like the game too. All right, this one doesn't tell you how long it is. Demons Recollect was 186,000 words. Oh my god, and that thing took us. How long did it take us? Ah. Scheiße. Fuck. God. What, 6 episodes to finish Demons Recollect? Yeah, 6 episodes of Demons Recollect, and we're on episode 15. Ah, Jesus Christ. Ooh, Jesus Christ. Ah. God, it's gonna take us like a billion years to finish this. I'm confident we'll finish one day. One day we'll finish, but today is not that day. Oh my god, it's so goddamn long. Oh god, it doesn't help when some of these voices are just shredding my throat, dude. It's killing me, dude. I don't even know what the hell I'm gonna do next. There's like one or two. Because I don't want to stop doing these. I thought about it and then I said, nah, I actually like doing these and I don't know, maybe introducing choice of games content into a larger fan base, I guess, is what I'm trying, is what I just want to have more people that I can talk to because none of my friends read any of this. I have one, but they've only read like a couple works. So it's not like me where I've read every single thing like I don't know how many times. I've read everything at least maybe 3 times in my entire life. I say three because like some of the newer ones I definitely haven't, yeah, gone through entirely too much. So yeah, still little, yeah. Oh, there's some really good ones out there too. I was thinking of, let's see, what do we got? Oh, was there something I really enjoyed recently? Vampire the Masquerade Out for Blood was actually a bit of a disappointment. I was expecting more to it, like more vampire hunting, but we only got one vampire to hunt, group of vampires to hunt, so it wasn't exactly that cool. Alright, not from the choice of games section, let's check out hosted games. Ah, Shiza. Maybe I should start doing the two-parter of, what is it, Keeper of Day and Night, and the first part I can't remember. Let me see. Keeper of the Sun and Moon. Maybe that one. Uh, we'll have to see. Like I said, all of these are pretty damn good. Well, the ones that I've read, I enjoy them enough to read them again. So we'll just have to see. Community College Heroes also a pretty damn good read. The third one's been on like being worked on for like I don't know how many years now. The thing is, I got another friend into a different friend from the previous one into Community College Hero, at least, and he enjoys it pretty much. And he's like, "Man, where's the third part?" And I said, "Oh, the author name. I think his name's damn. I can't remember his name. I'm thinking of a different author, one that I have a love-hate relationship with. Uh, oh man, let me look it up because I follow the dude on Twitter because I want to see any updates at all that the man has. Uh, let's see, community. I know. College hero. Come on, no one else. Oh, never mind. Eric Moser. There we go. Author, lawyer, mini schnauzer dad. Community College Hero 2.5 coming early 2022. Jesus. Ugh. Where's part 3? The final conclusion. I started Community College Hero, the first one. Let me see. Google Play. Let me see when it released. See. Ah, damn. I guess I'll just use my phone version. No, here it is. No, never mind. Dumbass. Let me look at it on my phone. Uni College Hero. Part 1. Trials by Fire. This motherfucker came. It came out December 3rd, 2015. Jeez. December 3rd, 2015. And the second one came out May 16th, 2018. So what, that was like a 3-year period, and now here's another 3-year period. But still no game. Nothing really updated about it. I don't blame the dude. The dude's probably busy with life. But like, I kinda wanna see the end. I started this game before I went to college when I was in high school, and then I got into college, and the second part released just before I went to college. Shiza. Yeah, I don't know. Fallen Hero Rebirth would also be a pretty good one. There's only one so far. So, yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see a talk about it. Alright, I think I've kept you guys here for long enough. So, I want to thank you guys for coming today as usual. It's always a pleasure to have you dudes come and watch. So it doesn't, so it justifies me talking to myself. I hope you guys have a good and awesome rest of your day. Stay frosty, and I'll see you at the other side of the day. Adios.